Hello Libra, Dadhichi Toth here from astrology.com.au with your February 2015 horoscope update. I've just got my eye on some of the technology here. Back in technology hell. It was supposed to make our life easier, but I'm not going to get into that. Suffice to say, your karmic nodes, these points in the zodiac which have a lot to do with the karma that's good or bad or indifferent, still affecting your relationships sector. And with the Sun and Mercury also in the 5th house of love affairs, we do see a focus in this area. Please note too that on the 4th, the full moon in Leo, which is your 11th house of friendships, and then the new moon on the 19th in Aquarius, again that 5th house of romance, all point to quite a few of the planetary positions bringing to the fore these issues, these departments of your life. And if we take a look, also the idealism strongly inherent there with your ruling planet Venus in conjunction with Neptune on the 2nd in the 6th house, it's showing that the relationships you're going to develop now take time. And of course, if you are too idealistic, looking at these relationships from the vantage point of a high degree of expectation, then you're likely to be disappointed. So bear that in mind, take a step back, observe yourself in those relationships, don't lunge at them, try to keep it real and look at the other person with a view to accepting their humanity and realizing that, like all of us, they have their human frailties. And that perfection that you're probably seeing in your first and second meetings is the little magical trick of Neptune right now. Incidentally, that has also something to do with idealism and expectation in your workplace. We see Mars in a strong and fortifying aspect to your 10th house of career on the 5th. So fortunately, that counteracts the dominant Venus-Neptune energy, showing that you can be constructive and self-directed in a positive way towards achieving your professional goals throughout the month of February. That's on the 5th, and that of course is on the heels of the full moon in the 11th house, showing a whole new opportunity there to extend your social circle, to meet new people. And also with the moon having just moved through that sector, you'll be rather emotional about the friendships that you're making or keeping throughout this period of your life. There is an interesting retrograde Mercury that's been taking place. That continues up until the 12th of February. Mercury relating strongly to your 9th and 12th houses of journeys, travels, and also these two houses have a spiritual connotation. So Libra, the setbacks that you've experienced in any of these parts of your life can start to be allayed around the 12th and thereafter. So these could be false starts in your plans to travel. Education's also covered by this. So maybe you've got a change of heart. Well, at least some of you will have. And it's important to clearly think through what it is you want and don't allow your impulses to determine the important life choices you're making, nor those travels that you are thinking of taking at this same time. Around the 19th, I mentioned the new moon in Aquarius, which has to do with your love affairs. That's a very, very potent new moon, indicating the start of a new cycle for romantic and creative endeavors, I might add. And then coinciding with that, the transit of Mars and Venus into your 7th house of long-term committed relationships on the 20th and the 21st. So around that area, we can see a lot of energy, a lot of dynamic power, and passion, because you know the combined influence of Venus and Mars is precisely a passionate, expressive and artistic sort of celestial event. And coinciding with that new moon on the 19th, I would expect that you're going to see some real movement in that part of your life. Now don't forget too, Mars does have that inbuilt energy of dispute, friction and volatility. And with that Venus there, hopefully that will tone it down so that it's not particularly an argumentative influence so much as one of passion and a bringing together of the different parties. That is particularly strong on the 22nd when Venus and Mars actually come into conjunction, these two transiting planets. There are a few other aspects later in the month that I'd like to address, such as the right angle or the square aspect of the Sun to Saturn. That's from your 6th house to your 3rd house. Contracts, anything to do with your work at that time could be under the microscope, and that does usually indicate an increase in personal responsibilities. So you might find other people offloading a lot of their work on you, and you have to be strong enough to draw a line in the sand and say, hey, this is my work, that's yours. If I've got time, I'll help you, but you shouldn't needlessly burden yourself with other people's duties when in fact you can ill afford to do that with what I see here, some very, very powerful, strong transits from this 6th house of your horoscope. That also has a health connotation, dietary sort of elements under the umbrella of this 6th house. So it could well be that some of you born under the sign of the scales of justice are going to be balancing that specific area of your life as well. Mars does, along with Venus, come into a very nice triangular aspect of Saturn on the 25th and 26th, and that is again another very constructive one. Communication with your partner, because that Mars is in the 7th house of relationship, public relations, with Saturn in the 3rd house of communications. It can make you less expressive, but certainly what you have to say will get the job done, and that's all that really matters, especially when we talk about the personal relationships, but we mustn't discount any sort of business associations that are covered by that as well. One of the final aspects here, which I think is important, is the Sun conjunct Neptune. Again, strong flavour of work, daily routine, work environment, health. This is the idealism and the aspiration that you may have. Keep it real, as I said at the outset of the reading. By doing that, you'll ensure that you can actually get something done on a practical level, so that it doesn't just all stay in your inventive little mind. So I do hope to see you here again next month for your March reading. In the meantime, as I always say, join us at astrology.com.au for your daily, monthly and yearly readings that I've prepared for you in depth, and along with that, a lot of the free readings that you can avail yourself of. For those of you wanting a more personal, direct and intimate consultation, you can consult either myself or any number of our psychics that are available through our network. There again, astrology.com.au, and I'll see you here next month. Bye bye. Thanks for joining me.